we have one more step. John, do you want to introduce our guests?
I would be happy to. With us today is Andy Wartz. He is the manager for municipal sales for Republic Services. And I've gotten to know Andy over the last 3 years because they serve West Donegal Township. He's been his 20th year with Republic. He's a graduate of Red Lion High School and Millersville University. He and his wife Deb have been married for 27 years and have 2 daughters. Kara, who is 25, does music therapy at Masonic Village. And Allie, who is 23, is studying to be a pharmacist, and she is a pharmacy intern at Masonic Village. So Andy also is on the board of directors for Keep Pennsylvania Beautiful. And Andy, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. So, like you said, Republic Services for 20 years, and my time with Republic started as a sales rep, and I had sold accounts like Elizabethtown College. Little to know that, 15 years later, my daughter would go to college there, and I'd see some of the signage on the wall that I'd designed for them. And then I'd sold Masonic Village for trash service about 20 years ago, never thinking she would end up working there. So definitely a connection to this part of the county, even though I'm a York County boy, lived there my whole life, but I've spent a lot of time over here. So we do the service for West Donegal, and I give a presentation to John every year on what's going on with the industry and with Republic Services. And last year he said, "Oh, we should get you to come out to the Rotary sometime." And so when he reached out, I said, absolutely. Always good to share what's going on. Most people put their trash out at night, and then they wake up and go to work, and it's there. And when they come home, it's gone, and they never really think about what all went into that. So whenever I can come out and talk trash, I'm going to do it because it's just something not a lot of people know. So I got a bunch of slides I'm going to go through that talks about not only what's going on within our industry, but within our company and some of the things we're trying to do to innovate. So recycling has been a challenge since 2017 when China said we're not going to take recyclables anymore. And most people don't even know that that occurred. But back then, 40% of the recycling in this country was going to China. And when they said no more, overnight, the switch was flipped. We had a serious crisis in this country. And that's when, you might recall in Lancaster County, they said, oh, we're only going to take the big 4 for recycling. We used to be able to recycle more plastics and office paper and all this stuff. And because there was no outlet for it. So we've had a challenge since then, which has led to some pricing going up, because before that we used to get paid every time we dropped recycling off at a recycling center, about $10 a ton. When that happened overnight, we were paying $110 a ton. And in this state with municipal laws, we couldn't go to the township and say we need more money. The haulers had to eat it. So over the past 5 to 7 years, you've seen some prices go up on contracts, and people just call it trashflation, but there's real reasons to it. The other thing is that the cost of just collecting trash has gone up, especially since COVID. So a trash truck used to cost $275,000. Now they're about $450,000. So that has also led to higher pricing in the market, because that was a huge shift after COVID. And we used to order a truck and get it within 2 to 3 months. Now it takes 12 to 18 months for that truck to show up. If there are business owners here that buy dump trucks or he's had to do it, they're all facing the same thing. So it's been a challenge. And then not in this state per se, but other states, they're doing some legislation to try to regulate recycling a little bit better, put some of the expense back on manufacturers who are creating some of this packaging to help offset the cost. So as that gets to Pennsylvania, we'll be able to, maneuver around that because we're doing it in other states. And then some of the things we're doing for municipalities, especially, that's what I do. I deal with all municipalities. We have 50,000 employees across the whole country, and so there are states that have sustainability goals and municipalities that have goals where they want to reduce carbon footprint. So we've done some things like invest in electric trucks, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. We don't have it here in this market, but we have them in other states. I want to tell you about how that's going, because there's a lot of people who think it would never work, but I'd like to share that it is. Plastic circularity. Glenn already called out that he thinks recycling isn't right. I'm going to talk about plastic circularity and how we're going to recycle plastic bottles over and over and over again, so that it's not just getting made into this vinyl plank flooring which then isn't recyclable at the end of life. So we're trying to do some things to innovate. And then PFAS, I'm sure there are people that have heard of that, but that's that forever chemical a lot of times found in fire retardant stuff. We're having serious challenges with that at landfills across this country. Not just ones owned by Republic, but all the haulers or all the landfill owners, because materials come in there that have PFAS in them. As it breaks down, it gets into the leachate, potentially gets into the leachate water as they're treating it. So we've had to invest in all of our landfills across country to handle this type of material. So that's driven some pricing up too. So this chart here is a little busy. I'm going to try to stay on the microphone so everybody can hear me. But on the left, we're going to look at this turquoise color. That's single stream recycling. That's what you do at your house at the curb. The beginning of that chart is before China sorts. That was kind of our starting point. We had a serious crash after that where we were paying all this money to get rid of the recycling. It spiked during COVID because there was so much cardboard that it kind of offset, but then it dropped back down. But over the last 3 years especially, we seem to start to creep back up a little bit. So I'm sure John could share that they're not paying LACSWAMA, Lancaster County Solid Waste Authority, as much for recycling as you were 5 years ago, but you're still paying, where before you got a rebate. And so residents don't always understand that because they go, well, you're making all this money on the recycling, it should be free. But it's not, because it costs money to buy that truck, to pay the driver for the labor, and then when you have to pay a processing fee, it doesn't. So that's some of the challenges we've faced. But it is getting back, because in this country we've invested in mills to try to recycle some of the stuff that China said we're not going to take. And so now we're doing things to help offset that. Serious problem in drivers, not just for the trash industry, but in whole in this country. We have a shortage of CDL drivers. Young people are not going to get their CDLs. And so a lot of our workforce is over 55. And as they get to retirement age, who's backfilling that? So you might see in the news where trash haulers or even other companies are just struggling to get service done because they can't find enough drivers. Like, it's hard to find people that want to drive truck. And then it's even harder to get them to do a trash truck where we expect them to clean up a mess or climb behind the blade of the truck every day at the end to shovel out any goop that got in there, because that can break down the hydraulic cylinders. So it is a very challenging job and hard to find the people. So you'll see about that. So we've done some things to invest in people and try to give them CDL training for free to help get people in the loop. Rear load helpers. In your township, they used to be rear load, meaning you had a person hanging on the back of the truck and they jump off and pick up 3 bags and throw it in. It's hard to find people to do that, even harder than drivers. Because if I told any of you, you had to go to the gym today and pick up 12 tons of barbell curls till you can go home, you'd laugh at me. Well, that's ridiculous. I'm not picking up 24,000 pounds and doing curls all day. But when the helpers on the back of the truck picking up between 10 and 12 tons by hand, that's what they're doing. But also it's 98 degrees with 100% humidity, or 36 degrees and sleet. And they're also jumping off of the step 800 times a day to do that. Lots of injuries. And then the distracted drivers is the other big problem. We've had fatalities across this country, not just with our company, but in the industry as a whole. And so that's why the industry is going to carts, so we can automate and keep people safe. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And then this talks about our recycling centers. They're mostly automated, but there's always a frontline group of people who have to try to pull any trash out before it gets to the machinery. Hard to find people to do that too. So we've invested in more AI technology to help do that recycling. Steel prices, all of our dumpsters, all of our trucks. Glenn does some deliveries for us and picks up some of the containers. There used to be a time where we'd say, if it costs 25% of the value of a new can, we can do the repair. But now with the price of steel and how expensive new dumpsters are, we're doing repairs that are, I think, over 75% of the value of a new container, just because it's so expensive to buy those cans. Fuel. I mean, our trucks get about 3 miles to the gallon. So you can imagine what that does when fuel pricing is high. So we're shifting to cart contents only, which we do in this township, and it's, when we first started it, there was a lot of hiccups. Like, people were like, well, I don't like this. But now they love it because their neighborhood's cleaner Everything wheels down nicely, so it's been working very well. So some of these benefits is that the haulers provide the carts. If your cart gets run over by a tractor trailer, you call and we replace it. It's not an expense. You don't have to run out to Lowe's and buy another one. You don't have lids blowing up and down the street. You don't have bins. So there is a benefit to the residents. It's not just for the hauler to be lazy and not have to climb out. No, we're doing that to keep people safe. That's why we use these automated trucks. Again, it improves the roadway. This is what things used to look like in the township, the lower picture. Now it's what they look like up there. Everything's uniform when you go. Big complaint people always say is, what about snow? It's not going to work. Well, it works better for us because we can see these carts. What you can't tell on that, like there's white bags right there on top of the snow. Those are the things that drivers would miss because it blends right in. So the carts actually help with that. We see higher volumes of recycling. So when this township used to use 14-gallon bins and that thing filled, some people would say, well, I'm just going to put it all in the trash now. And so they'd be paying more disposal because they're just putting recycling in the trash. You go to the 65-gallon carts, your recycling volumes went up, which helped for grant money from PADEP's Act 101. So there's definitely a benefit to the township as well. We have multiple sizes. We used to be, this is the only size you can have for trash. Well, we flipped that. Now we go 3 different sizes because we have older neighbors who can't handle the bigger cart or just don't generate as much trash. Masonic Village, most of the cottages went with the small one because they don't generate as much trash. And so as a hauler, we wanted to be flexible with residents so that they can have something that's still going to help us automate, but make it easy for them. And then the real reason is because we just want our employees to be able to retire from the 5th most dangerous job in the country. So that's the real reason we want to have carts, because we want to keep our people safe. So this is a quick video. I want you to pay attention to the back of the truck when he jumps off. And it's about a 2-second time frame from what occurs. So I have other videos where the person was hit behind there and trapped between the truck. Don't show those in public because they're gruesome. But with the way people are distracted today and on their phone, it doesn't take long for that to happen. I mean, had he not just jumped off, he was going to get slammed by that car. So these are the reasons why in your municipalities and your neighborhoods, you're going to see haulers saying we need to get carts because we can't have people hanging on the trucks the way we used to. So if you live in Raffo, if you live in West Donegal, somebody lives in Mount Joy Township, I think they have carts there. Or they were looking at it last time, but it wasn't low enough. Yeah. So, but it's coming.
We can't have to be at the street level, or
no, it can be on the sidewalk. Yeah, because the arm goes out about 5 to 8 feet, and it can go up and down. So yeah, because we do this in boroughs as well. It's not just in townships. Yep. We're doing some things where we're adding AI to our trucks so that residents can go on the website, type in their address, and they can see on a map where the truck is to see if it's been through their neighborhood yet. So we're trying to do things to make it a little more friendly. The trash industry has traditionally been behind on technology. And our trucks have basically a backup camera, and that's about it. So we've been trying to do things to get, because I always said, if FedEx can tell you where this little box is, why can't we tell you where this massive truck is? So it's good that we're getting into that. We're also adding cameras to these trucks so that they can see if things are contaminated. We can take a video, send it to a resident, say, hey, we know you're trying to recycle the right thing, but this isn't the type of thing you put in your recycling. So
I would say that's one of our biggest problems in West Donegal. People, no matter how much we talk about the big four, we still have people throwing newspapers in their recycling bins, magazines in their recycling bins, and then once it's contaminated, it's done.
And that's the challenge on recycling, is that it's different in every market. So if you cross the river into York County, we do more than 4 things over there. This is just what Laxwama said they're going to do, and so that's what we do in Lancaster County. If you go down to Baltimore, their list of things might be a little different than what we do in York. So in Pennsylvania, we still recycle glass because Act 101 is the law about the municipalities have to recycle, and then they get grant money based on how many tons they recycle. So for us to say no more glass, that takes a lot of money away from the municipalities. But glass tends to contaminate everything. When it gets in that truck and breaks and gets embedded in the cardboard, that cardboard becomes less valuable. So you go out to other part, like out to Pittsburgh, they don't recycle glass. They have special glass drops. So it's different everywhere. And so as haulers, that's our challenge, is how do we educate people living in our municipalities or the businesses that do work with us, because they may have moved here from another area where they recycled completely different. So how do we educate? How do we get enough information out? So, and it's a constantly changing thing. When China sword happened, and overnight we had to say, okay, you can't put plastics 3, 4, or 6 in, only 1, 2, and 5, and you can't put any junk mail or office paper. It was a challenge for people because they had been so trained to just recycle everything. So education is a big part of it. This is about our electric truck. We started it in 2018, I believe, with Mack and Peterbilt. We didn't really like the results we were seeing, so we went with McNeilius, Oshkosh company, and we designed it from the frame up with our employees and our engineers, so it works for our industry. So that one on the right is the one we designed. We just rolled it out in Louisville, Kentucky, or Louisville, Colorado last fall, and it's been going really well. This is a picture of it. We had a trade show in Pittsburgh, so I got to be in it and around it. What most people don't realize is in a regular trash truck, you're sitting on top of the engine all day. So it's really loud and it's really hot in those cabs. With this, we don't have that. So our employees that are driving these love them because it's quiet, so it's better quality of life for them, and it's cooler. They keep the door shut, the air conditioning keeps it nice and cool in there, and it works really well. We put technology in this that it will start to warm up the battery and warm up the cab an hour before the driver gets in while it's still on the charger. So it helps keep the battery life whole. We do the same thing in the summer. It'll automatically cool the cab and cool the battery about an hour before they start route. And we're able to do a whole route, pick up about 1,000 homes, still have 20% battery life on it, and that just charges overnight while it's plugged in at our yard. So as we roll these out, we're making sure we have infrastructure. We're saying you're going to get 2 or 3 trucks. We're not replacing whole fleets at a time. We're being smart about it because they are more expensive. So again, we're doing it where there's legislation that we have to, or where there's sustainability goals that we're trying to help a municipality hit. It's going to be a while till they get here, but by the time they get here, like, it's going to be working really well for us. So we've been having a lot of success. The other nice thing is the windshield is like the front of a bus, so there's so much visibility for the drivers compared to the regular trash trucks. This joystick over here on the right, that's what they use to pick up the carts. They just sit in there all day, use that joystick. They got cameras that show them the cart, show the claw getting it, dumping it, setting it back down, keeps them safe and in the cab. If they have to get out to pick up something extra, they're now on the side of the truck, not behind it. So even if a distracted driver comes and slams into the back of the truck, they're safe up here on the side. So,
Quick question.
yes.
We never decided on how far apart should
At least 3 feet. 3 feet. Yep.
We put that in every newsletter.
I don't believe I don't believe that. My neighbors don't.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's the challenge, right? Not everybody reads newsletters. Not everybody reads the mailers we send. And so what we ask our drivers to do is dump it and try to set it back the way you need it so that the resident starts to get trained by that. But what's nice about the automated trucks, though, is you pull up, use the joystick, it picks it up, sets it right back down where we picked it up from. The old ways, when we have people hanging on the back and they grab your can, they go and dump it in, they might take 2 steps back, but then kind of toss it the last 5 feet, and then it kind of rolls in the middle of your driveway. Like, we know how frustrating that can be. Automation, that goes away because we're putting it right back down where we picked it up from. I'll play this briefly just to show how quiet it is, because you've all heard the trash truck come down your street. And it's got 360-degree cameras, so it's like, up-to-date modern car, basically. But with it being as quiet as it is, it's much safer for the drivers, especially if their window rolled down. They can hear if something's happening outside or around them.
Are all trash truck drivers on the right-hand side?
Yeah, most of them have steering wheel on both sides. While en route, they'll be on the right-hand side, and then if they have to go to the incinerator, they hop on the left-hand side. So recycling, we're getting into polymer centers where we take the plastic bottles, that you drink your Coke in, you put it in your recycling cart. We pick it up, we take it to our recycling center. Currently, we would then send those bales of plastic to different companies that make flooring or carpet or clothing, and they downcycle it into that product. But we had a lot of companies like Coca-Cola and Nestle coming to us and saying, we want more recycled material in our packaging. How can you help us? So 2 years ago, we opened up a polymer center in Las Vegas. This year, we've opened one in Indianapolis. Next year, we're going to open one in Allentown. And then the following year on the Gulf Coast. And so what that means is we take same process, pick it up at your house, take it to the recycling center, they bale all the plastics, send it to our polymer center, and there they separate it into separate type of plastics. They'll hot wash it, break it down into food grade flake. Then we can mix that with new resin and sell it back to Coca-Cola. So if Coca-Cola wants 50% recycled material, we take 50% flake, mix it with 50% new. They make the Coke bottle, you buy your Coke, you drink it, you put it back in your recycling bin, we get into this circular recycling. That's what we're doing to try to change the narrative on how we recycle plastic in this country. And we're having a lot of success with it out west, where we implemented the first thing. Some companies might want 90% recycled material. So again, we'll take 90%, mix it with 10%, sell it, they make it, and so we get into this circular economy is what we call it. So. Landfills, that's a big topic in this state because our landfills are getting filled up and it's really hard to get expansion projects done. We are fortunate in this part of the state because we have 3 incinerators within a 15-mile radius right here. One in York, one here in Bainbridge, and one up in Harrisburg. There are 6 incinerators in the whole state. We have 3 of them right here. So all of your trash at your house, whatever's picked up, is going to the Lancaster incinerator. And then they burn it and they make electric out of it. But there are other parts of this country where there is no incinerators. It's just landfills. And as they close up, we have challenges. So we own a landfill in York called Modern Landfill. We're trying to get an expansion there. And when we get that expansion, we're going to be adding a landfill to gas project where we take the methane gas, scrub it into renewable natural gas, and we put it right back in the pipeline. We have another landfill up in Morgantown, Berks County, right off the turnpike. All of our methane gas there gets scrubbed, turned into renewable natural gas. We put it in a pipe. It goes down to New Holland. We're Case New Holland, Dark Container, Tyson Foods. It used to be called R&S Sweeteners. It's something different now. They all use that to help power their facilities. So those are the types of things we're doing across the country at our landfills. Last year we invested $1 billion in our landfills into these gas to energy projects. If we don't do that, we're just flaring off the methane and burning it, which isn't the best thing to do. So it's a big investment, but it's the right thing to do. We even have some landfills where it's our hauling division is there too, and they run on natural gas trucks. They'll take that methane, turn it into natural gas, and put it right in our trucks, and then we can run it with that. We think as we get more electrified down the road, in 10 years, let's say, we'll start running generators with that methane to create electric that we'll just charge our trucks with, so they would kind of be completely on renewable energy. So we're looking for ways to really save because diesel fuel is really expensive. And then another thing we don't do in Pennsylvania, but is eventually we'll get here, is food waste recycling. So organics. Out in California, there's legislation that they have to do this. So we've had to invest in facilities. This one on the bottom, it's a composting facility. It's a windrows where they put the food waste and they let it compost. That's all run on solar energy, so that's completely off the grid. Because Chula Vista, California has a huge sustainability goal, so we're helping them hit a bunch of levers with that. This is an anaerobic digester. Also, we built that in California. We take the food waste there, it digests it down. That does create methane. We then scrub that, put that into renewable natural gas. And then up top is this is in Las Vegas. All the food from the casinos. We do the whole Clark County. We've got everything there. All that food waste comes here. This is trash that separates out, and then this is all the food waste. They feed that to hogs at a hog farm out there. So, but it's helping them hit these goals. So there's lots of things we're doing that I told them, we don't do this here, but if Pennsylvania legislator ever says you have to do food waste, we're going to know how to do it. We're going to come in and build a facility and be able to handle that for our municipal partners. And then the last thing is we've always been known as a recycling and trash company. It's you just do recycling trash. Now we've we've expanded. We bought several environmental services companies in the last 3 years, U.S. Ecology, ACV Environmental. And so now we can do household hazardous waste collection. We can do emergency service cleanup. Like had crews out in East Palestine, Ohio 2 years ago when that train derailed for months cleaning up that mess. We're fortunate, again, in Lancaster County to have Lancaster County Solid Waste Management Authority, where you as a resident can take your household hazardous waste and drop it off for free. So feel lucky, even though it might feel like a pain to drive down the Harrisburg Pike, it's free, it's a drop-off. Parts of the country, they don't have that type of setup. So people are like, what do I do with this? So we've been building facilities like this where people can come on the weekend and drop off that type of stuff. We're not going to do it here because Lackawanna has it, York County Waste Authority has it, Cumberland County has it, Dauphin County has it. We're very fortunate in South Central Pennsylvania to have good waste authorities who help us manage this type of stuff as residents. And then the last thing I want to talk about is our National Neighborhood Promise. So we do grants and donations to charities all the time. So the last couple of years we've donated about $40,000 to Miss Bobby's Place in York. It's a homeless shelter for women and children, or for families, because most homeless shelters are either women and children or men's. They wanted to create a family, so we donated that money through our National Neighborhood Promise. We just donated $140,000 to Larry J. Macalusa Elementary over in Redline. Their PTO put a request through for a handicap playground because they haven't had anything for the handicapped children that go to that school. So we put $140,000 into that project for them. So we do a lot with Habitat for Humanity, but any nonprofits that want to apply for grants, they just go to our website, they can apply. Not everybody gets it. But we pump a lot of money back out into our communities to try to be a good partner because we're a big company, right? We want to do the right thing. So that's basically it. Recap: challenge is getting drivers. That's what you're going to see, and it doesn't matter if it's us or Penn Waste or Waste Management or Goods. Everybody's struggling with the same thing. We see it in the news all the time. So encourage young people. College doesn't do anything. You can go become a mechanic. You can become a plumber. You can get your CDL and be a driver. Like there's other options out here that make really good money. But unlike my children, you wouldn't have $100,000 college loan to pay off, right? So now I skipped over this, but we opened up a technical center in Dallas, Texas 2 years ago where I gave this presentation in the city of Reading, and my contact said, oh, my daughter's boyfriend wants to become a mechanic. So he applied. We flew him to Dallas. He was there for 2 months, got trained up, became a mechanic. We gave him a toolbox full of $15,000 worth of tools, and now he's working for our division in Leesport. He's been there a year and a half now, super happy. But we're training them on trash trucks so that when they go actually do the job, it's what they were trained on. When you get trained at the local VOTAC or diesel, they're doing all over the road trucks. And then they come to us and we say, well, climb behind the blade, lay in a 1/4 inch of trash juice and change out this hydraulic cylinder. They go, no, never mind, I'm out. So we decided we just need to train people on ours, pay for that, and then we get the payback. We've also started doing CDL training. So our helpers that we're not going to use anymore because we're automated, we didn't fire them. We said, let us send you to Dallas. We'll pay for you to get your CDL. Now you can come be a driver for us and make it even more money. So we're trying to do everything we can to get the right people in the seats. So that's all I have. Any questions? Glenn? He's a good partner of ours.
So I've been doing this stuff for 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I've learned you cannot educate the public.
It's tough, right?
It's impossible.
Yeah.
And I've seen it firsthand. When you meet the resident at the house of a mistrash place, and you say, man, you can't recycle this.
Yeah.
Well, it should be recycled.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
We're never going to stop this crap.
No.
It's just absolutely insane.
Yep.
And it's costing a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, and to get it right would be so much nicer.
Yeah.
And then it's also the people who, because it's trash day on Monday, they take out their trash on Sunday night in a 40-mile-an-hour wind
Mm-hmm.
because it's trash day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like you can't get people to stop doing that crap.
Yeah.
It'll never stop.
Yeah, and it's
What
also
do you do to make it stop?
bulk items are a challenge too.
Yeah.
We say you need to wrap your mattress so that our employees aren't touching bed bugs or bodily fluids. What do you mean? This is ridiculous. Just pick it up. Like, okay, like yeah, it is challenging. So we do mailers, we do phone calls, we put it is, but people get that and it's junk mail and they put it right in and don't ever read it. So yeah, that's our challenge. we've been fighting that forever.
Do it is just stop taking the trash, like literally stop.
Yeah.
But that's,
I can't.
You
I can't do that.
I know, because then people call a bitch, but.
Well, no, that's a law. I gotta pick up the trash.
No, I mean, if it's not right.
Yeah.
So you go to that house and the sad thing is you can't tell what's in that.
Unless you get out and open everything.
Right.
And even if you open it, you might not see it because it's in the bottom.
Get the bins and you saw the paper hanging, just don't even pick it up.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yep.
But then that creates a phone call to him,
Mhm.
creates a phone call to us. We go out, get the miss and say, well, the reason it was missed was well, take it anytime.
Yeah.
So you gotta just take it.
Yeah.
I get it,
Yeah.
but it's a shitty system.
It is challenging. It is challenging.
See, I can't see, you can't say that, but I can. Is there a question
I- It's better than it used to be now than it was 10 years ago. Like because of the technology and what we've been able to implement at the sorting centers, we're able to get the trash out easier. And so it's not as contaminated as it used to be. And people are learning. So we try to do stuff with kids in schools. Like we have a website called Recycling Simplified where teachers can get lesson plans and there's videos. Because if we can get the kids to do it, now they're gonna go home and tell mom and dad, no, you can't put that in there, take that out. So we do spend time on that as well because like we service a lot of schools. So we'll do, like I did a job fair in Red Line the other week and we were talking about recycling with all the kids and they're like, oh, like they want to do it, they want to do the right thing. So I hear you, it's been a challenge.
full bait cans in the trash, how do I do that?
Batteries.
Watching truck fires.
Yeah, batteries are a huge issue. Lithium batteries. So when your Ryobi drill dies, don't put the battery in the trash recycling. Take it to Lowe's or Home Depot. They have a drop off right out front for free, or you can take it to Laxwama and drop it. But people do that all the time. We have probably 5 recycling center fires a week across the country because people put those lithium batteries in, and when it gets compacted or run over, it catches fire quickly. And it's hot, and it's really hard to get those fires out. So, yes.
I have a question, and I'm going to ask it rather than model on. So, hey, Ben, what do you do with solar panels?
Well, we don't pick them up curbside, so they would probably have to go through the household hazardous waste pickup. Yeah, it's not part of the local curbside pickup. So, because the trucks aren't designed to smash those up, and you don't want to.
Talk about the recycling process, like all the stuff is in one bin.
Mhm.
When you guys get it, what do you do with it?
Yeah, so we take it to the recycling center. It goes. I should have put a video of that in here. It's all automated. It goes through a screening process. Like it'll pull all the cardboard off first, and then it gets up to a conveyor. And now there's reverse magnetic things that'll push the metal off or suck it up. If it's a steel can, there's optic sensors that see a certain type of plastic, and a puff of air will blow it off of the belt into the separate bin. So, I mean, it's fast, it's automated. So it used to be lots of people standing there hand sorting it. Now they're there to grab like the obvious big piece of trash that's getting in there before it goes to the belt, and then everything else is getting sorted. And by the get to the time of the end, that's whatever trash is left, and it's usually 10 to 15% probably is trash.
And how much of the legitimate recycling doesn't get recycled because of some reason or another?
Everything we pick up goes to the recycling center and gets
So
recycled.
every plastic thing gets recycled? It doesn't-
No, because
Well, how do, I mean, stuff that-
because what we want is plastic bottles and jugs. 1, 2, and 5 are the numbers that you see on the bottom. But some people will be like, "Oh, this controller's plastic. Let me throw that in there." This is gonna get trashed at the end of the line. This isn't the type of plastic we're recycling. So that's the 10 to 15% residual waste at the end. Is not people trying to be hateful or do something wrong. They're doing wishful recycling. Like, oh, this bell, let me put that in there. This isn't the type of thing we want in the curbside recycling. Yes, sir.
Does some of this recycling nightmare begin with the manufacturers?
Oh, for sure.
They're making the stuff out of?
Yeah. Right. I mean, we've fought with lightweighting over the years. Where remember, we used to get a plastic water bottle and it was pretty firm. Now some of them are so thin that when you try to take the lid off, the water comes flying out. So it used to be you could get a lot more plastic bottles in a truck because it was good plastic. Now it's such lightweight, as we compact it, just keeps opening up. So it's certainly more challenging as they've gotten to this cheaper plastic.
So, This was Memorial Day this weekend.
Mhm.
It was Monday, they pick up trash on Mondays at our place. And I've often wondered, like, when there's a day, a holiday like that,
Mhm.
I just have this image of all these different trucks going, you know, this is Monday, this is Tuesday, this is Wednesday, this is Thursday, got it all organized, and then you have one day that you are off. How does that impact?
Well, do you live in Elizabethtown Borough?
Mount Joy Township.
Mountjoy Township, okay. So everything's on a day delay during holiday week. So Monday runs on Tuesday, Tuesday on Wednesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Our employees get Monday off, but then they're making up for it by working Saturday.
Okay.
So they get the extra pay for the holiday, but they're still working 5 days. Yeah.
They pick up extra hours.
Yes, sir.
We had a couple of questions. One, does each township, county, whatever, have their own recycling policies?
Oh, yeah.
Any materials?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the challenge. Yeah. Everything's different depending where you're at. So if you live in King of Prussia for 20 years, then you move here,
Yeah.
it's different than what it is out there.
Because that comes out of your better waste management there, they took everything
Mhm.
down in Florida, they just took everything.
Right.
You could dump everything in there, and they had the sorting equipment there that could sort out everything.
Yeah.
But the other question was, the glass bottles, I know there's some areas, especially over in Europe, they separate the green glass and the
Mhm.
brown glass and the clear glass.
Yeah. We don't do that anymore. No, we used to. Like, if you remember when we first started recycling, you had a separate bin for colored glass, separate for clear. You had a separate bin for your paper and cardboard, and a separate one for metal cans. Well, it's because we didn't have the equipment to sort everything, so it was dependent on people. So we just picked it up separate. So it's called source separated. It was separated at the source rather than at the recycling center. So we used,
Now it's the machine.
Yeah. Yeah, and it used to be sometimes we'd have to have 2 different trucks come, one that picks up the paper products, one that picked up the glass, or we had split body trucks, which weren't very effective because you filled it up the part that had cardboard way quicker than the part that had metal, and it just wasn't efficient. And so the country kind of went to this single stream to make it easier for residents. So we do always say empty, clean, dry, like rinse out that peanut butter jar. Don't just put it in there with a 1/4-inch peanut butter because that's going to contaminate everything. Like we get it. It's challenging, right? And then the other thing we say is, when in doubt, throw it out. Like if you're not really sure it's recyclable, just put it in the trash, and it's okay here. We have an incinerator. They're going to make electricity out of it, so you can still feel good about yourself. Yeah.
The sorting center. I went on a tour of the sorting center. They had a bunch of stuff,
Mhm.
catwalks and all that.
Yeah.
It was noisy, and it was smelly, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Do they have tours here?
Yeah, we have our closest recycling center is in King of Prussia, and we do tours frequently for that. Where'd you probably go to Penn Waste over in New York?
Well, this is down in Maryland.
Oh, in Maryland.
Several decades ago,
Yeah.
it was way ahead of its time.
Yep. Yeah. Yes.
The other thing about helping.
Did you say the public or republic? Okay.
Not every public.
All right.
Is, and no offense to old people, because it's mostly old people. If you have a toter for recycling, and you only have 2 plastic bottles to put in that toter, don't put it out. Just wait till the next week. But they put it out, and you pick up, and there's nothing in it except 2 little bottles.
Yep.
Like, you just can't get through.
I'm gonna push back on you. I tell residents, I don't care if it's a quarter full or a half full, put it out, because you're paying to have it picked up.
Yeah, but that's just ridiculous.
You're paying to have it picked up.
I live in a common sense world.
But here's
I don't live in a government controlled operation.
well, no, but here's the other issue. Glenn, here's the other issue. If somebody doesn't create a lot of recycling, and that driver goes by 5, 6, 7 weeks and there's no can, and the driver kind of gets in a rhythm, and next time he goes by, that can isn't there, but he was so used to not seeing the can there, he might miss it. And so,
And
then you
those
gotta
people shouldn't even have a recycle. They should all.
I can't win with you.
Cannot.
Listen,
I yield my time to the gentleman.
when we build our pricing for these contracts, we know that 90% of the people are going to put out recycling. So we build it that way, knowing that 10% probably aren't going to put out every week. But we're driving by anyway because they might put it out. Yeah. So we're going there no matter if they put it out or not. The difference is about 10 seconds of time where we sit there and dump it. But
You go to Masonic homes, no offense. The
Ken's
yard
been
waste,
trying to ask a
the yard waste, right? Okay, there's a couple bags, that's good. Then you'll have, Gladys with 4 branches that came off a tree that are this wide,
yes.
wrapped up, sitting here in the grass waiting.
Right. And we miss it because we can't see it. Because we can't see it. And then we get yelled at. Yeah. Well, we're working on that too.
I got all day.
Yeah.
Ken's been trying to ask a question here.
Yes.
First of all, this has been interesting.
Yeah.
So thank you. I also noticed on the stock market, your companies are good investments.
Yes.
For whatever reason, maybe it's all the things you're doing. And,
Yeah.
I noticed on the electric vehicles, like 75% roughly of them are in California. I'm assuming that's because they have much higher standards of having to have renewable energy vehicles.
Yeah, they have legislation that says it has to be by.
So that's why
Yeah.
I wouldn't use the word higher standard.
So when states said by 2030 you have to be electric, instead of waiting till 2029 to hopefully figure it out, we said let's try to get ahead of this and design it so it actually works for us. Back in 2012, we were shifting to compressed natural gas trucks, and I was sales manager in our York office at that time. And overnight, we got 75 brand new trucks. But then they weren't really designed to handle the weight. So we were having motors burn out like the first week. And so the company learned from that. And so now with electric, we're like, we're going to design this thing so it works. And then we're going to go to a hauling division and say, here's 3 or 4 trucks, not here's 70 all at once. Because especially with electric, like we got to make sure the grid's there, that it can handle to charge it. Like we can't just go, oh, Marietta, here's 20 new trucks, because they could not work. So we go out, we do a lot of studies before we even think about putting the trucks in there. So, yeah.
You say you have a hard time getting drivers.
Yes.
So when I saw that electric cab, air conditioned, and it just looked gorgeous.
Yeah.
I would drive that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And the drivers who got them were all people that were like, this will never work. I don't want this nonsense. Until they drove it, and it was quiet and cool, and all of a sudden their day was not as hard. So, yes.
And the electric, the automatic ones, in areas where there's a lot of parked cars on the street, how do you manage to do that?
So that's our challenge. So we do things like Hummelstown Borough just switched the carts at the beginning of the year. And so when we go down Main Street, there's cars. The driver is going to have to get out the truck, wheel it around, dump it, and put it back. But he's at the side of the truck, so he's much more protected than being at the back. So
So it could be on the sidewalk or someplace.
Yeah.
On the other side
Yeah,
of the car.
because there are just some spots where it's impossible to put it where it's accessible. So we're just going to have to get out and wheel it around. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you very much.